Recording in progress.
Yeah, so welcome to the MindBody Health Podcast with James Duggan and Aldine Thorne. And today we're going to be talking about designing your future. So we're going to be and goal setting.
Yep.
So this is the important one. So yeah, how have you been, James?
I've been great. I've been working on the mind body cup. I've been working on quite a few things. Let me get myself a bottle of water as well.
I've seen you doing
Yeah.
some presenting somewhere.
Oh yeah. I've we've been doing. We do a lot of health coaching and health talks as well.
Yeah.
So we've been doing quite a few of that recently, and that's been picking up. We've been trying to help people save their own lives by learning what to do with their body. But it's really funny because even while we do the health coaching, it relates to this, because once a person wants to get better at anything, their body, feel well, it's an outcome. It's an outcome that they're setting.
Yeah.
So they're projecting their mind to the state that they would like to be in, which also, points to the fact that they're in a particular state that is no longer conducive for their well-being.
Yeah.
So even with health practitioners, as a health practitioner as well, I find that goal setting, or as we like to call it in neurolinguistics, is outcome.
Yeah.
And I kind of prefer the word outcome, because
or direction. So because it should,
or direction,
because it should not be ever ending. It should be, all right, what's the next thing? All right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing?
Exactly.
What's the next thing? That's what it. Exactly. So outcome, because I've seen the disaster of, hey, we've done it, we've finished it. I've seen clients who, I've done my goal, and then they just completely fall off a cliff. So therefore you have to be very careful after how you set a. It's more of a direction where you're going, and therefore you've got to set goals big enough to actually make it so it's a lifelong thing. So, which we're going to talk about now, because goal or goals, or designing your future, or having your life goals, is something we're going to talk about it, but this is an absolutely crucial thing that most people do not do, and most people are struggling because they do not do what we're going to be talking about today. The first thing we're going to look at is why should we design our future? Why should we design our outcomes or direction or goals, whatever you want to call it? Why do it? So why do you think? What would you say to people? Because you do it, and you again, you're going to know the power, but why? Explain to others why do it?
There's one major reason to set outcomes, because it's either you set outcomes and determine where you want to go, because this is self-determination, choosing where you want to go, or just drift on the wind. A good metaphor I'd like to use is it's like taking a journey. Remember, we were talking about direction, and it's like being on a boat, so you're the captain of this boat, which is your life, and if you get onto the boat without a destination, and then think about how vast the waters are, the seas and the lakes, and you just get onto the boat and say, oh yeah, let's go, but where are you going? And if you don't choose where you want to go, you're just going to drift on forever. And it can be mildly enjoyable to just go for a cruise without a destination, but you won't know when you won't have anywhere to go to. You'll just be cruising through life. You won't actually be achieving anything. So like being on a boat, if you don't set a destination and then use your compass to make sure that you're consistently on track, then life is just for lack of a better word, life is a breeze, and you'll just be going with the wind.
You'd be
You
going
know,
around
so
in circles,
yeah. You know,
which most
so,
people
but
are.
setting your destination, setting your direction is imperative. For instance, if you say you're driving
Yeah,
and you're going somewhere that you because and this applies because more often than not, uh, you're really setting outcomes because you haven't actually been to that place. You're not in the place you want to be. So if you get in the car and I say, hey, Eldine, come over to my place, usually I'll give you evidence for what it'll look like when you get to my place. Oh, it will be that nice gray fence with a beautiful garden in front and this big gray door, and number 7 written boldly on top of it. So when you get there, you know that, oh yeah, this is where I'm going, and it's never, like you said before, it's never the end because you just came to visit. You probably go visit someone else, so that's one destination. And then there's a next destination, and such is life. We're always looking to achieve something else.
yeah,
We're always uh, um, um, the other day I was listening to this Jewish rabbi, and he gave a really great metaphor for why we change. Now, there's in NLP we talk about present states and desired states. So the present state is usually where you are. The desired state is where you want to go, where you actually want to be. So it's not necessarily in terms of just achieving things. It's a state of being. So and he was talking about lobsters. I don't know if I'm going to be making anybody hungry right now, but he was talking about lobsters, and he said that lobsters, and I didn't know this until I heard this, that lobsters actually change their shells. They shed like snakes and a lot of other animals. They shed their shells and regrow new ones. And he said, in their present state, that shell has become uncomfortable. It's become, and that's what happens in a present state for anyone who's looking to move somewhere else. It's because where they are. For instance, a good example I'll use is health, since I've been doing a lot of health coaching. So someone who's ill, for instance, their present state is a state of illness where they're not feeling very, very well or feeling the way they would like to feel. But what they want is to feel, well and at ease with their body. And that's their desired state. Now, the lobster is feeling uncomfortable because it's outgrowing the shell that it's in, as we are outgrowing that present state, and hence the desire to move to a particular desired state. Now, the lobster itself gets uncomfortable. That discomfort is a trigger, is a prompt that where you are isn't conducive anymore, and it's time to move to the next place. And then you choose this next place, and then you shed that old present state and adopt this new desired state that you want. And I found that a very handy metaphor because it does relate to everything we do in life. The lobster doesn't shed its shell once; it sheds it every time it finds itself in a state that it doesn't want to be. So then it knows that it's time to move to the next state. Now, how do you move to the next state is the real question. What things do you do? And NLP, this is one of the reasons why I really love NLP, because what it's done is, being a modeling technology, is found out how people actually achieve what it is that they want to achieve, and the particular mental sequences that they go through in order to bring about this new desired state, this new way of being, this new state of being.
We're going to talk about how to do all of this in a second. But
yes, it's
that's
important.
a really good metaphor there, especially the uncomfortable, and then knowing that's the time to move. Because most people, when they're uncomfortable, then they just label it as whatever mental health illness is going on at the time. So it's amazing that animals know, right, I'm uncomfortable, I need to shift and move to the next thing. Whereas humans,
Mhm.
we don't seem to learn that. So I just want to go into. So I want to talk about a few things with regards to why why it's so important for 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 you to actually write these goals down. Right? Why is it important for you to come up with the goals or outcomes or intentions for your life and write them down and actually as come up with some sort of a plan? Um, so why is it important? So researchers found, so this is, I'm just going to give you some stats here. So researchers have found that MS patients who set ambitions, wellness goals, had fewer and less
Mhm.
severe symptoms than the control group. So people who didn't do it. So in effect, goal setting actually helped heal their brains. Yeah. So researchers also learned what the kind of goals it is that what kind of goals make the most dramatic changes to brain structure. So the other thing is as well. So in other words, you setting goals is actually going to help heal your brain, and as I
Mhm.
said, help it grow. It's going to help it grow, so the neurons grow. But the other thing as well is this is Harvard business study. So you're going to like this one. So 83% of the population do not set any goals whatsoever. So none at all. Yeah. So that's 83%. 14%, yeah, they have a plan in mind, but they don't write the goals down. Yeah. And then you've got
Uh,
3% who actually know what they want and they write it down. Yeah. So they look at it. So here's what happens. The 14%, yeah, they have 10 times more success than the 83% who don't have goals. So 10 times the success. Yeah. And then the
Wow.
3%, the ones who have a goal and then write it down, they have 3 times more success than the 14%. Yep. So that's incredible. But the thing is as well,
Yes, indeed.
85% of people are in jobs that they hate. Yeah. So 85% of
Yep.
people are in jobs that they hate. So really and truly, those 85% of people, or let's just say the 83% of the people, are actually working for the 14% or the 3% of people who do write their goals down and know exactly what they want. So it's just
Yes.
the success levels is like tenfold at least, and that's just, and if you write it down, then the success is higher. All those people who are successful in those big businesses, they know exactly what they want, and they have it all written down,
Yes.
and they look at it every single day. Yep, they may adapt it and change it slightly or tweak it, but they have a vision. They have something, a mission that they're trying to go after, a life mission, something that they're going as an ongoing thing. So it's not a, hey, we've done it, let's stop. It's an ongoing thing. And that's the power of setting an intention and big, big, big goals and having an outcome that you want to go and achieve. So that is, if you're, and the reason why you need to write the goals down is because goals held in your mind become jumbled up. They're likely to become jumbled up because you've got like, what, 1,500 thoughts or something coming in your brain every hour or whatever. So your goal, if you're in your head, they then become less clear. So you're not going to be
Mhm.
as successful those who write it down because they've written it down in a specific way. Yeah, so they've really gone and focused on what specifically they want, and you use specific words to help them get into an emotional state or build up emotional juice. Yeah, so
Mhm.
even so, Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, they will before Tony Robbins goes and has a meeting or sees his son, he comes up with an intention of how he wants it to go, what he
Yes.
wants to do, and that's his son. So every single time he goes to a meeting or speaks to someone or goes somewhere, he has an intention of what it is that he wants from that every single time. Yeah, and that's why he's so successful. Yeah, success
Yep.
is higher. Sharing your goals with someone increases the chance that you're going to achieve that goal. And not setting goals in a mental health setting resulted in disengagement. So it's extremely, it's so important that you write things down and have it. I've got life goals written down. So I spent, what is it? I've obviously done that MOBE course where they made us write down in minute detail big goals. So not just, hey, I want to pass uni. It's like, well, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to pass uni? What's the intention? What's the highest intention? What's this? What's the end result? And then you start to get really clear, because me, like, for example, setting up the MindBody project, it was like I had to get very clear because there has to be an exit strategy. So what are you going to do after that? So what's the intention of the MindBody project? What is it after that you're hoping to get? And it's like, wow, yeah, this is it makes you think, because then you realize that stuff that you think's important is not quite as important as you thought. So when you get very clear and you write things down in a certain way, then you're going to get, your life changes. Your life changes. It's like you said there with the metaphor. So it's like, going into a tunnel. And then, so not setting a goal is like going into a tunnel, and then you realize there's a dead end at the tunnel. And then the only way you can go is the same way you just come from. So you going back, and then you're going forward, then you're going back, and then you feel stuck. But if you set a goal, if you set an intention, then you're going to go into that tunnel knowing that at the other end of that is Disneyland. So you can get excited the closer that you get to it, that you see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that is...
And then you're ready to break down any walls that are in your way.
Yeah, as I said, it's so important. And then the other things as well, as a more technical way of saying it, is like, because we've done NLP, and we've got millions of bits of data that come into our brains every second. So we've got between 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information. When we focus on what it is that you specifically want, and you're looking at that all the time, then that's going to manifest, and you're going to ignore the other bits of data that comes into your brain every single second. Yeah. So you generalize, distort, and delete other information that's not helping you get towards your goals. So you won't notice it. But what you will notice is things that are going to help you get to where you want to get to. So you're going to notice, hey, I didn't know you did this. Hey, I didn't know that shop did all of this, sold all that stuff. It's only around the corner. Wow, this can help me meet my goals. And you start to notice things, or you feel like the law of attraction is working to bring things to you, or bring things to your attention, so that you can so it's going to make it easier for you to get your goals. You're pulling your unconscious mind, and you're letting your unconscious mind go to work in the background, coming up with a strategy of how all of this is going to work. So for me, it's absolutely crucial, and it can change people's lives. That 83% of people who don't do it, it's going to change their lives. So it's really important. He's going to say something, James.
Yeah, I'd just like to add. Yeah. When you were saying that, then you start noticing all those resources that you didn't know existed in the first place. It's a bit like, what's that term? Hyper-focus. Like, so if I said to you, I mean, you could drive to work or drive around every day, and you'd never really notice blue cars or red cars. But then if I said to you, count how many, or notice how many red cars you see on your way down to my house, then all of a sudden, you just start noticing all these red cars that, like, oh, my neighbor's car is red. Oh, and it's just the way the unconscious mind works, because then all of a sudden, you start noticing all those resources for the goals that you've written down that would have just breezed past you. I'm full of these weird metaphors today. That would have just breezed past you if you hadn't set the intention. Then your attention would be all over the place. But because you've set the intention, then your attention is laser focused to achieving that goal. Your unconscious mind is in full support of, so now you've consciously chosen what you want. And as we know, the unconscious mind it does what you've programmed it to do. So then it just starts noticing these things and starts utilizing them as well.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that bit.
No, that's right. I'm gonna say what you've just said another way, because so people can understand it.
Yeah.
Is if I watch negativity on the news, or like I call it negative hypnosis, if I watch that every day, then what my brain's going to do is ignore positivity or where people do good things, and I will start going into the world, and I'll start noticing bad things that happen, because now what you've done is you've programmed yourself to go out into the world, because your attention is on negativity. Then you go out there and you're going to go and spot it. So your inner world is going to be your outer world. So whatever, as I said, perception is projection. So that's another way of looking at it. So if you're focused on, if you think about negativity or how people are bad to you, if that's your dominating thoughts, then you're going to notice it. You never get, and you won't notice what you're not going to notice, because you've got millions of bits of data that come into your brain. You've got between, let's say, 5 and 9. So the 5 and 9 bits of data, you're going to look out into the world, and then that's what you're going to notice to prove your point. So you'll notice that, and you'll ignore when people are being nice to you. You just won't be able to spot it because that's not what you're looking at, because your attention is not there. So that's another way of looking at it. This is why you need to...
You're breaking up, I can't hear.
You can't hear? You there? You there now? Yeah, I can see you nodding. I can see you nodding. Yeah, so your attention.
Yeah, I'm back.
So what I was saying is your attention. You have to set with intention what it is that you want in your world. You've got to design your world that you want to live in, or otherwise it's going to be designed for you by others.
Yeah.
So So let's so how do we do this then, James? How would you go about and doing this? Because we've said why it's so important, and how much more success you're going to have if you set all of this. So what we were saying about around 30 times more success if you just write goals or write intentions down and then have them somewhere so you can look at them each day. So I've got the other thing I was saying as well is I've got my life goals all written on the wall. So 27 things. Yeah. I've got I do it in 6-month goals now. I was doing year, but they're written on the wall. They're written there as well for me to look at each day. And then I've got what I do in a week. That's all written there each day. So I go by that. And the funny thing is, if you set the goals out well, and I mean big goals, big intentions, something that if you got it, then you'd go, oh my God, this is the best. That type of goal. Not like, what is it? There was a client, there was a guy I was working with, and he was sitting there, and his goal was, well, to get a job. It's like, is that it? So you survive 50 million sperm to get on this planet just to get a job. That's your big thing that you want to do. Because your unconscious mind is your unconscious mind. If you do things like that, if you set goals too small, then your unconscious mind is just going to go, I ain't doing nothing, man. So it's the problem never is that people set goals too high and hit. It's that
they don't set them high enough,
too low and hit. Sorry, it's not. The problem is, let me say that again. Problem is not that people set the goal too high and they miss. It's that they set it too low and they hit. And if it doesn't excite you, if it doesn't build emotional juice, then it's again, you're setting impotent goals, and that's not what you want to do. So they're big goals that you want to set.
You're not motivated to carry on.
Yeah. So how would you set these goals? What would you do?
The first thing I would focus on, because remember I sent you an outline of the book I was writing, and I specifically in that book started by focusing on context, because it's something that is easily overlooked. Because when you want something, for instance, we were talking about where you are and where you want to go, but then when you want something, it's in a particular context. It's in a particular situation in your life, in your existence. So you'll have goals, say goals at work, or goals for family, or goals for making money. Either which way, that is a context.
Yeah.
Now, within that context, there are a myriad of smaller contexts. So when you set a goal for a generalized context, then the change is more general. However, sometimes you want to be specific. You want to be so much more specific so that you can, you can actually. It's like any system. Sometimes you want to work on the whole system, but then sometimes you want to go into individual components of the system to make sure that it's, working optimally and contributing to the system itself. So I usually tend to ask my clients, where are you now? What would you like to change? What would you like to have happen in what context? So that's usually my first thing. And then you get people saying things like, oh, I just don't want to be ill anymore, or I don't want to be poor anymore. And I'm like, okay, that's what you don't want, but what do you want? And yeah, and it's so, and you find that people are so away from, so they're running away from things, and it's half and half. I mean, that's one aspect of getting towards your goal, because it's where you are that you don't want to be anymore. Like with the lobster, it's not conducive in that shell anymore. Yeah. But now, what do you want? Do you want to not have the shell anymore? Do you want to grow a new shell?
So I'm just going to say, like, this is a problem for a lot of people, what you just pulled up there, because many people, they get into a situation where they just want to get away from that situation.
Yeah.
So that's an away from motivation. So we're motivated by two forces. So we're motivated to avoid pain and to seek pleasure. But we're 100 times more motivated to get away from pain than we are to seek pleasure. So what people will often do is they will, if they're in a bad situation, they'll go, I don't care, I just want to get away from here. Let me get away from here. But then they end up in another place where they're bad. So you can use I'm motivated to get away from the pain. But at the same time, like what you were just about to say, is you want to be going, where do you want to go? You need both of those two forces to work together. And often people do not do that. And this is how our health system runs at the moment. It's just to get away from there. Once you're far enough away from there, then you're on your own. Where we need someone else, a coach, to turn their head around and go, right, we're going here now. We need a direction to go in. We need something, a positivity or some good emotional juice, building those feelings to go to this place. Because if you go away from somewhere, like in the tunnel, like I was saying in the tunnel, if you go away from there and you're going down a dead end tunnel, the only other way you can go is the way that you just came. So that's what relapse is. Yeah. So you just brought up a very good point there. So yeah.
Yeah. So really, I'll just say, and with regards to writing it down, then write down, both of what you want. Where you are, that's not conducive for you, but state it positively where you want to go. I want to make this amount of money. I want to write this book. I want to get a great job. Whatever it is you want, focus your attention, because we get more of what we focus on. So yeah, it's one thing to be in a position that you don't want to be anymore and use that motivation to propel you, but then it will propel you where? to what. And then so once you can state this clearly, positively, and then the term positively has been overused by mainstream media. The whole positive thinking, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about focusing on what it is you want. Yeah. So ask yourself, what do I want? And then state it in terms of, for lack of a better word, positively. State it in terms of what you want, not what you don't want, not what's driving you away from where you are. So I think that's other than choosing your context where you want this change to happen. I think the most important thing next would be to state it positively.
Yeah, that's called leverage, which is there's a way of using that, and which me and James would use with a client. So what I've seen, probably James is going to know about this as well, is a lot of this thing about SMART goals. And I was listening I was listening to Brendan Burchard the other day. I had to come up with what he said about that, because SMART. I was in an interview once, and one of the questions was to me was, if a client sets an unrealistic goal, how will you talk them out of it? And I was like, what? Why would I talk him? How do I know it's unrealistic? I can't determine what's unrealistic for somebody. Exactly. It's like, so the questioner he was trying to limit the client with this question. He's trying to limit me in that way as well. And that was because it was he was trying to talk about SMART goals. But if you think about it this way, Facebook, is that a SMART goal? If I said, like in the 1990s, I'm going to set up this social media company which is going to get 3 billion people signed up to it, that's not a SMART goal. Is landing on the moon a SMART goal? Mm-hmm. Is what is it? Is the V8 engine? Henry Ford doing the V8 engine, was that a SMART goal at the time? If you think and grow rich, that's a really good story there. Like a plane, like in the Wright brothers doing we're going to go and fly from one continent to another continent. Is that a SMART goal? See, these are not SMART goals. They're and so Brendan was saying, let's forget the SMART goals. Let's do dumb goals. Let's do dumb goals. So what he's saying is so the D stands for dream or destiny driven. So think big, bold, and beautiful. So think it and which is one of the things Richard Branson will say. Think the goal big. The goal's got to be big. Yes. And set your intention. So again, setting goal. If you set goals too small, you're not going to be motivated to do them, and you've got to make sure that the goals are actually yours. And this is why you ask, when you write these goals down, why do you want to do that? So you need to know why and write all the reasons down. So because reasons come first, answers come second. So you need to know the reasons why you want this. The U is for uplifting. So you set goals, and now you've mentioned this regarding the words and positivity and stuff. So one of the things, rather than saying something like, because what in life coaching you split your life down into bits, and you were saying about context, which is good. So what I did, I changed the wording around to make it more uplifting. So instead of saying, right, usually it's health, entertainment, career, personal development, and all that. So instead of that, I've put for health, I've put world-class physical health and fitness and model and world-class physical fitness and health and model of excellence. Yep, so that's for that. So for personal development, instead of writing personal development, I've changed the words to make it more uplifting. So it's ultimate personal performance superstar and MindBody performance strategist. So you see the words because now I want to aim for that. Yeah. So instead of saying home environment, I'm now putting home sweet home and base of the happiest person on earth. You see, it's very, very different language, which
Yeah.
makes it more uplifting so that you actually
Yes.
want to go after it because it's building your emotional juice. So you want to
Yeah.
build, you want to do that. You want to make sure that the words that you use are going to be uplifting rather than something like, I want to
Yeah.
lose something. I want to lose weight. That's not what you should be writing. The brain
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do that. It doesn't like to do that. It's like, I lose. I'm not lose. No, I'm not doing that. Forget it. Yeah, so your brain ain't going to want to do that. So you have to write it in a different way.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
the so yeah, instead of saying yeah, this is what an example. Instead of saying I want to lose weight, say I want to be a sexy person. So that's a better
Yeah.
way of writing it, because then it's a very different way of doing it. Yeah. The M is for method friendly. So what practices can you create to make your goal happen? So what habits? So what are you going to do to make it so that the habits are going to lead to the actual goals? So something you're going to be doing over and over again. And then the B is for behavior driven. So we're talking about, so getting it, so your behavior, you're doing it as behavior to get towards the goal. So you have to be,
Yeah.
for example, there was a client I had who said she didn't have enough time for exercise. So I got her to come up with some solutions for this. So what she done is, because she has to walk her children to school each morning, what she done was she said, right, I'm going to leave 5 minutes later so that the kids think we're late, so we have to walk fast. So which means it's now going to be a brisk walk. And she has to do that every day anyway.
Uh-huh.
So therefore, now she's actually doing a brisk walk. So now she's doing her aerobic exercise that 5 times 30 minutes per week. So she created that to help with her fitness, because that's a behavior that she has to do anyway. So she just adapted what she was already doing and make it so it's more behavior driven. You can do that with morning routines, nighttime routines, so gratitude. Maybe you want to do meditation. Nighttime routine, what I found really helpful is if you look at the next day and set an intention that night, you let your unconscious mind work in it in the middle of the night, and you just find energy. You have more energy and more focus for things that you want to do. That's a way to do it as well. And the other thing is as well.
I like that one in particular.
What the? Which one?
Yeah, I was just going to say I like that one in particular because the nighttime routines. Because then it gives me what I tend to do is going to bed. I set my intention for the next day.
Yeah.
I set my intention for what I want to do, how I want to feel, what states of mind I want to be in for the routines I'm going to go into, and then so it allows me to wake up into that intention, into that state of mind. And I wake up and I'm just, so it's like programming the day, the next day, the day before. So it's I actually love that one.
Because your unconscious mind, it likes things to do. It loves things to do. When you say, right, this is the intention, okay, that's good. And the other things as well is making sure that intention is in detail. Because if you, this happened to me on the trainers course. So do you know we get a paper and we had to do the presentation. You write down your intention for the presentation. Yeah. Now I didn't realize what was going on there, but then what I did is I wrote one with just a few bits on it, and then I wrote one with a load of detail for the intention, like a page for intention. And what happened was, when I wrote all that intention down, then my unconscious mind come up with a presentation within 5 minutes. I could do a presentation within 5 minutes, and multiple ways as well. So it just so the unconscious mind goes, oh, okay, I understand what you're doing now. Right, I've got loads of ways we can do this already. That was like, wow, I can do it. So I can do a presentation. So setting your intention, what you're after, if you do that, then it's going to make it easier for you to actually, for your unconscious mind to get on board and come up with all the resources that the unconscious mind has. Yeah, because your conscious mind is essentially this cup. Your conscious mind is this cup in terms of power and capability. The city that you're in, the whole city that you're in, is your unconscious mind's ability and power of what it can do. So why are you going to trust and use the conscious mind over the unconscious mind? You're not going to do that unless you're stupid, or especially when you know that it's just not going to work. And the problem is that the 83% of the people are not using their unconscious mind to go and do any of this stuff. Are they, James?
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. You know, I particularly find it very strange. But then, you know, one of the things we like to say in NLP is that people make the best choices available to them. So most people, and that's why we're doing this video as well.
Yeah.
Most people aren't even aware that these patterns exist. They're not aware that they can use those inner resources, those greater aspects of their mind to manifest the things that they want. You know, so I find that educating people, making these resources available to them is invaluable.
Yeah.
You know, one of the other things I like to focus on, you know, there's something I want to bring up because John, for instance, John Grinder, if you notice in his presentations and his videos, he consistently states his intention. If you go on YouTube and check some of his videos, you'll see that John will say, well, my intention for this is blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And then, so if you asked him a question and said, oh, so John, what's so great about New Code NLP? And he'll probably say, okay, well, my intention for telling you this is to explain, to clarify, to, you know, and then he just goes into a flow, you know. So this is someone who's, he's great at using his unconscious mind.
Yeah, he's the one that like got me into like, okay, intention, because that was something that I realized, oh my god, that's how you're doing some of this stuff, because it's just, I can't understand how you can do all this. Because sitting there listening to him, it's like, wow, geez, I just, how do you even think of this? How do you even start and come up with that?
Well, that's the difference between utilizing just the conscious mind that can only that only has a limited attention range, to using the unconscious mind that has so much range, so much information, so much. We'll probably do a whole presentation on, you know, the difference between the conscious and the unconscious.
I think that should be the next one, actually, because
it should.
I think we need to give
because
some stuff on that to show them what they are actually capable of.
Them.
Yeah.
And show them how to use their unconscious minds.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is one of it. I mean, because setting goals is actually using your unconscious mind, but, you know, in harmony with your conscious mind, because your conscious mind is really like the navigator. You know, it chooses where you want to go. It's the unconscious mind that now creates the scenarios and the opportunities and the motivation and everything that's necessary. And all these are resources, internal resources, that we're bringing out to navigate the world itself. But one thing I wanted to clarify is the difference between setting an intention and setting a goal. Now, as you mentioned, there's the intention, which is more like the broader spectrum of what it is that you want. Then the goals, like you were talking about your goals that you're setting, the goals are more specific. So, you know, you set the intention, say for whatever context, I want to have a better harmonious family life, for instance. Then within that context of family life, then you might think, oh, I keep getting into these arguments with my sister or my brother or my mom or my whatever it is. And then you set the goal or the outcome to, you know, to be a better communicator in your family life or whatever context you choose. And then that is a specified goal. Then, and as you notice, I set it positively. So, you know, that's an intentional, you know, that's an intention guiding the goals that I'm choosing. So now every time you go into that context, the intention kicks off, and then the goal that you've already chosen. Because when we continue with the steps of writing down your goal, one of the things that we'll talk about is creating evidence for the fact that you've achieved or are achieving that goal. And that evidence allows you to realize that you're in line, an alignment with the intention itself, the higher intention that you've set. So I just wanted to add that because I thought that was important for people to mind.
Thanks, James. There's something I want to add as well, which is going to be something that you're going to notice as well, and that is before anybody wants to change, it's got right. There's certain things that have to come from you, because like at the end of the day, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, just because like we're saying, hey, if you want to be more successful, do this and this. So what you got to understand is there's some things that have to come from you that others are not gonna give you. You have to come with this. If you come to someone with like me and James with these things, and so definiteness of purpose. So belief in the process, a burning desire. Yeah, and faith in the actual process is going to happen. So you have to come, and what I call all of that is congruence, that you want to change. Yeah, so you have to believe that you must change and can change today. You have to come with that fully congruent, fully definiteness of purpose and burning desire to actually change. I've had enough of this and I want this. That's what you have to come with. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't have to change. You don't have to do anything you want. But if you do, you have to come with that to the table for change to happen. If you come with that to the table, then change is pretty quick and easy, to be honest with you. If you're really coming out with that desire, it doesn't take a lot. And most people don't come with that. They don't come with, and they're not leveraged in that way where I need to get away from this and I really would love to get this. Yeah, those two forces working in tandem like that. I just want to, there's a couple of questions that I want to give someone. This is something for people to go and work on. It's a little exercise. So of questions. I've done this with you, James, as well. I've asked you these questions as well. And this is from MindBody, and it's a thing called Lifebook as well. I would look up Lifebook because that's again that just really splits your life down and comes up with specific questions to make sure that what you're saying that you want is actually what you really want. Because there's a load of things I wrote down that was societal goals. They weren't what I was really after. It's something that had been programmed to me that this is what you should get. So when I went down the list, I noticed I don't feel the same as what I did with other goals. So a few times I went, no, why do I want that? It's like, I don't want that. Why am I trying to do it? And it was causing me loads of stress as well. So these things I went, why am I doing that? It's like, get that out of here, get that out of here. And then I can breathe. I can breathe a lot easier now. So so these questions. So number one, what experiences do I want to have? So in your life, what experiences do I want to have? Do we really want to have? So just think about all the experiences, and what I would do is I would get a piece of paper and start writing this out honestly. You don't have to show it to anybody, but just write that down. Money, no object. Write all of that down. So don't sit there and write down what you think you can afford right now, or what you can do with your current resources. Just like if you had the money and the resources, and if I had a magic wand, I could change you right now. Just write down what you would actually like, what experiences would you actually like. So that's number one. Number two is, how do I have to grow in order to have these experiences? So how do I have to grow in order to have these experiences? Yeah, so you may need money, you may need resources, you may need skills to do that. And then three, to be the man or woman who has these experiences and has to grow in such a way, how do I give back to the world. Yeah, so that's for fulfillment.
Yes.
Yeah, so to be the man or woman who has these experiences and has grown in such a way, how do I give back to the world? Okay, so those, if I was you, I'd write all of those down. That took me about a month, because I just went deep into it, go deep into it, and just find out that. And then what I would do, once you've written all of those down, I would write down, I'd look at each of those and actually write down why you want that. So why do you want that? Right, all the reasons why you want that. Because as I said before, reasons come first, answers come second. So you need to know why you want this, because some of them you might think you want, but you actually don't. And the things that you don't really want may be causing you a lot of issues in your life at the moment, because you may be working towards something that you don't actually want. So what I would say is go and look at a thing called Life Book. Look at that, or I've got this is all on my Ultimate Winning Mindset course as well. So loads of questions like this, and loads of things all written down. So it's all on there as well, and the personal development course I've got as well. So that's all on there. But yeah, answer those questions.
I love Life Book, because I love the way they've structured things as well. Because those questions you've asked are specific to individual contexts. So they have one for life, for your your family life, your career, your money making, just different contexts. And then they ask you these wonderful questions. So now you can imagine asking yourself what experiences you want to have with regards to money. And I'd like to have money coming in consistently. And these are really simple. I like to have money coming in consistently as a result of the value that I'm offering the world.
So just to that one there. So what I would ask someone from there is, for what purpose? Because money's a mean to an end. So it's like, what's the money going to give you? So this is where we go into this quite a lot on those courses. Because like, some people set financial goals. Okay, what's that going to give you? Because money's a bit of paper. So what is it going to give you? What's the thing that is going to give you? What's the thing that you want from that? And this is what I had to do with the MindBody project. It's like, right, my MindBody project is going to give you money. So what is it going to do? What is the exit strategy? What is it going to give you for what? It's going to give you this for what? It's going to give you skills for what? What is it that you want from that? And it's another thing is design your perfect day. So what you're going to be doing when you wake up, what time, what you're going to do then, who's going to be around you, where you're going to be. I had to go through so many questions on that MOBE course, where I was writing this down for a year. It took a year.
I remember
to write. Yeah, but I had to take a year out to go and write all of this down. But let me tell you something. It is so well worth it, because that is now put me onto a path where I'm going in a direction that I actually feel buzzing every day. So every time I complete a task, I'm buzzing more and more. So it just keeps going up higher and higher and higher and higher. So every time I complete a task, it's just, well, I feel good, I feel better. And this has been going on for about 3 years now. So I just keep feeling good each day every time I complete a task. So it's a much better way of operating, and taking the time. It's well worth doing that. It may be slower, but you're going to go in somewhere that you really want to go, and you're going to enjoy the journey. And that's the thing. It's not, hey, I set this thing that I want. Oh God, it was a struggle to get there. Yeah, now I'm here.
Lost you for a second there.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? You're not moving around.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're just not moving. So, but like, yeah, it's just make sure that you're. Can you hear me now, James? You're blinking a little bit. Woohoo! You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Like
We've got about
smashing again.
we've got about 2 minutes left, James. So, is there anything last words you'd
Yeah.
like to have?
One thing I'd just like to add is a pattern that I like to run is asking people. So now you have, for instance, like the money we were using as an example. So now you have this more money, assuming, so I future pace them. So now you have this money. What intention does it feel? What does it give you? And once they identify that, because as we know, there's an intention for every behavior. So once we can identify the intention, then they get to clarify what the goal itself is. So then they can identify. So there's we were talking about setting the intention, then setting the goal. But then sometimes you could do it the other way around, because then someone will come in with a goal, and then you find out what the intention that goal will fulfill for them. And then you can help them determine whether it's an alignment with where they want to go. And I keep using this word alignment because that's where the emotional juice comes from. The buzz that you keep feeling every day, every time you achieve an outcome, is because it's in alignment with everything else that you want in your life.
Yeah.
So, and there's no point in going anywhere fast or going nowhere very fast. So take your time. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's brilliant. That's, as I said, there's so much more to talk on goals. Yeah. We could talk about this for years, but we've only got an hour to do it.
If anyone wants to know more, just contact LDLI, and we'll take you through the. Sorry to interrupt. We'll take you through the whole sequence of questions for for setting outcomes and for achieving them. And you'll find it well worth your while.
Exactly. I think the next time, as we hinted before, we're going to talk about the unconscious mind and the conscious mind.
Mystical unconscious mind.
And we're going to talk about some of the deep stuff that we flipping go through.
Yeah.
let's spook people out with our experiences. So thank you very much, James, and then I will see you on the next podcast. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Getting my unconscious mind ready for it.
That's our intention. Right. Catch you later, yeah?
All right, speak to you soon.
All right. Bye.